Hello, I'm Karen Springen. I'm the Masters of Science in Journalism magazine specialization leader, and I'm thrilled to be able to share information about our program with you today. We are extremely proud of our wonderful students. Here is a photo of some students who graduated this past year in our 303 East Wacker location in downtown Chicago. They are hearing from one of our Medill alums who is an editor at Cosmopolitan magazine. Our master's students in the magazine specialization become very close. We have events that are outside of the classroom as well. Here is just a photo of a few of us in the summer, right as they're getting close to graduation. At the end of your graduation, you will have your master's degree, and here is one of our students who's now at Bloomberg. Here are some of the faculty who often teach magazine students. Charles Whitaker, our dean. Alex Kotlowitz is probably best known for writing There Are No Children Here. Cheryl Tan has written numerous books and runs our George R. Martin program. There's me. Mailing Hopgood teaches students how to write personal essays. Peter Slevin writes regularly for The New Yorker. Patty Walter has been an editor at Self and Mother Jones. We all love working with you. We have guest speakers who work for many magazines. Sometimes the guest speakers are our own alumni. We have one of our recent alums, graduated just 2 years ago, works at Vogue magazine, and she is very generous speaking with our students. We operate on a course site called Canvas. Here is an example of a syllabus on that website for our very first intro class that we call Magazine Mashup. And it gives you an overview before we really hit the ground running and try to report and write as many stories as possible in magazine style in your second quarter of the 4. You are encouraged strongly to what we call pitch your class ideas, which means to try to get an editor at a publication, either here at Northwestern or elsewhere, to publish your story. Here's an example of a student story that she did on modern day speakeasies. And she visited over 24 of them here in Chicago and looked at these modern day variations on the old Al Capone idea. Of course, they're legal now. And she ran it in Chicago Reader. The student Hannah Jackson, who's now at Vogue, she published one of her class stories, her sort of grand finale story, on people, young women who are being hit up to sell their eggs and sometimes get ads, $80,000 for your eggs. And she pitched her piece that she had written while she was here at Medill to Elle magazine. One of our other students wrote a piece on the hottest music venue in Chicago, a little bit of artistic license there, but it's a concrete pillar in the Chicago River. Again, he pitched this piece that he had done here at Medill. Another student wrote while she was here a piece on yoga, helping men in prison. She went on scene, got permission to go into the prison, watched the men doing the yoga, and took their photographs. So another example of a great student idea, beautifully executed and pitched. Another one of our students got the idea to do a story on surrogate siblings, on siblings who would be the surrogate carrier for a pregnancy, say if their sister had cancer or some other reason why she could not carry the baby herself. And she published it in Stat News. So I hope you like seeing some of these examples of published stories. Here's another example of a published student story. This was a student who did a profile, another type of story, on a comedian who asked her boss off for Groundhog Day. And this student pitched it and got a full page in our Chicago Reader on this for this profile. Another one of our students did a long piece where he went to 8 different Chicago Jewish delis, and he ran one of the pieces in Chicago Magazine, this one, but also the Chicago Tribune ran an 8-part series, one one piece each time on each of the 8 delis. Here was another student story that ran in BuzzFeed on trans audiobook narrators, which was, again, a great student story on how book publishers are looking for trans actors to play the role of trans characters. Also, sometimes our students decide to just go ahead and publish their story in our own Medill reports. So here's a student who looked at why major clothing brands aren't extending the sizes, aren't running larger sizes when 2/3 of US women are considered overweight. So she published this piece, which is quite long. I encourage you to go look at all the stories on our Medill report site. But she did a lot of reporting, and I hope you'll take a look. While you're here at Medill in our magazine Specialization, you're encouraged to try many different story formats. You learn to write Q&As, profiles, service pieces, which are how-to pieces, reported first-person essays, features, reviews. You learn how to pitch story ideas. We've even taught students how to do book proposals if they're interested in that. Here's just an example you'll see of a service story that a student wrote during our Medill Explores trip about how to find a great vintage coat in London. So I hope you'll take a look at our Medill Explores site. So where do recent MSJ magazine alumni work? All over the place. Often they decide to use their magazine skills at a magazine. I mentioned Hannah Jackson, who's at Vogue. Often they'll use their magazine skills in other kinds of journalism jobs. Sarah Berman, a recent alum, is the search engine optimization manager at the New York Post. Anto Mufarech is a reporter at Bloomberg News. Max Abrams, who wrote the Jewish Deli package, is at the Freedom of the Press Foundation. Julia Gordon is using her magazine storytelling skills as a marketing writer. So you can do just about anything you'd like with the storytelling skills that you learn here. Here are some examples of a few veteran Medill MSJ alumni magazines. The editor-in-chief of Mother Jones got her MSJ at Medill. The editor-in-chief of Chicago Magazine got his MSJ at Medill. And the head of the publisher of the company that puts out Fast Company and Inc. magazines also got her MSJ at Medill. I can't resist also bragging about 2 other MSJ alums. We have our famous George R.R. Martin, who wrote Game of Thrones, and Gillian Flynn, who wrote Gone Girl. We can't resist bragging about our wonderful alums. Thank you so very much. I'd love to talk to you anytime that you're free by phone, Zoom, or in person. See you soon, I hope.